Hello again, word lovers, and today we move to the Second World War and words which were coined during the conflict between the Allies and the Axis powers. And why were they called that? Well, ally has a satisfying etymology. It's from aligare, meaning to bind. Ligar in modern Spanish is to unite, especially to cop off. Ad ligare would be to bind one thing to another. So there we go. We are allies, we're bound together. And this comes from a PIE root, leg, meaning to tie. Hurrah! The Axis were so called because of a speech by Mussolini, possibly derived from a nickname meaning like a gnat, in which he spoke about the Rome, Berlin, Tokyo axis. So there we are, the Allies fighting the Axis, lots of blitzkriegs. A lot of German came into our language during the war. The blitzkrieg is the lightning war, we know that. Blaze, coming from beleg, meaning a flashing, went into Latin as fulgare, via a root that mystifies me. And the Krieg part, meaning the war, in Old German simply meant a struggle, an exertion, and probably comes from a Proto-Germanic word, krgaz. And there they were, in the skies, fighting dogfights, battles between aeroplanes, the loser being sent into a nosedive or a tailspin, the most famous example being the Battle of Britain, of course. Not the Battle of England, as it is referred to in Spain, as that does little justice to the Scots, Irish, Welsh, and even the Battle of Britain doesn't tell the story of the Poles and the Czechs that helped. So while the battle raged, the ordinary people suffered because we couldn't get any coffee or nylon or tobacco. So a lot of ersatz products came up. Ersetzen is the German word meaning to replace. Setzen is related to the English word set, and it comes from the PIE root we've already seen, sed, meaning to sit. And maybe people's taste wasn't so good either. Maybe people began to like kitsch. Kitsch meaning products of inferior value. Verkitschen etwas. German means to quickly make something, to knock something off. Let's stay with the Germans now. In Germany, there was the Gestapo, the Geheime Staatspolizei, the secret state police. Nazi also. Nazi originally was a pet name for Ignaz, who was the traditional country bumpkin. So to call somebody a Nazi was never a compliment. The Nazis probably didn't call themselves Nazis, but the word existed already. And Nationalsozialismo seemed to fit it nicely. So the Nazis became the country bumpkins to their enemies. Fascism was arising in Italy. The fasces is the bundle of sticks that you see in the emblem, and has been a symbol of power since the days of the Roman emperors. Among the Nazis and the fascists there were black shirts and brown shirts, and in London and the rest of England and indeed Europe many a blackout where all the lights had to be turned out. But even in a blackout we could use our new system of radio detecting and ranging, which is better known by its acronym radar. And using a letter to stand for a word was quite common in those times. The underwater boat, i.e. the first submarines used by the Germans, were known as U-boats. VE Day was the Victory in Europe Day, and we still celebrate that, and Anzac Day, the Australian and New Zealand Armed Corps, who also helped tremendously. Wars create refugees. The idea of a refugee running from a place evolved during the First World War, originally meant asylum seeker, because asylum is refuge, a hiding place, a refugium, connected with fugere, to run away in Latin, as in fugitive. At the end of the war, of course, it was revealed that a terrible thing was happening. It was known as the Holocaust. The general burning, holocaustum is Latin, taken directly from the Greek holos, the whole, holos, and kaustos, burnt, which survives in English as caustic. Death and destruction by fire in that case. which was, at the end, how they disposed of the bodies, not to be confused with cataclysms, and in any case, to be hoped that we never see another one.